Can you train for a half marathon without having run? Well, here's my journey to my first 21 kilometers. Last week, I completed my first half marathon. However, the morning before or the morning of, I actually didn't know if I would be able to. I didn't know if it was possible because I'd never run that far before. It wasn't because of my mindset, it was because of 12 weeks before the marathon, I ended up with an injury. I was diagnosed with a grade 3 severe stress response, which is pretty much a fracture. However, I trusted my body, and guess what? I still ran it. And I did it in a time better than I had planned. A little bit of my backstory. I'm not a runner. In fact, if you told me a few years ago that I would run a half marathon, I would have laughed and said, there is no way. I didn't believe in cardio, running. Your cardio was simply going for a walk each day. This is something I told my clients often. Running is high impact and not worth it on the body. In 2023, my sister challenged me to join her for City to Surf. It's a 14-kilometre fun run in Sydney, and I had no real reason or excuse not to. And I did that in a time better than I expected. It was a lot of fun, and I remember my sister commenting, just you wait, you'll be running a half marathon or marathon next. And I just laughed saying, no way, I'm never going to run a marathon. Well, my sister was right. In January 2025, only a few months ago, I had signed up for my first half marathon event, the Beta Bay event from Woy Woy to Gosford, 21 kilometres, so it was time to start training. One of my clients had said that she'd like to run a half marathon, so I thought I would go through the process to know what it felt like to then help her later on with her training. How did I go from starting strong to injured? Well, I was training smart, I was building up consistently, I was doing 3 full body workouts a week and 3 runs, 2 short runs, 1 long run, slowly building up my pace and my distance. However, I'd started running much faster and further at the same time, too much for my body. By mid-February, I started to get foot pain. Stupidly, I pushed through for a few weeks, and after 1 week of complete rest from running, the pain was only getting worse. So off to see the physio. A couple weeks later, after an MRI, I got the bad news. My physio had told me I had a severe grade 3 stress response in my second metatarsal, and at the base of my big toe, a mild stress response. This is pretty much a fracture. I was not going to be able to run on the road at all. I was going to be in a boot for a minimum of 4 weeks, and the chances of running in the next 3 to 6 months was extremely unlikely. I was meant to start my 12-week running plan that week. I was devastated. I'd felt so strong, and suddenly I wasn't sure if I'd be able to run at all. However, I found a new way to train. I wasn't going to quit. Instead, I changed my approach. I kept my 3 cardio sessions each week. However, they were done in the gym. I was using the bike in my boot until I was given the all clear to use the cross trainer or the elliptical. I had adjusted my strength training to accommodate my boot and to train as best I could with the circumstances that I was now facing. I focused more on my core and my glutes to strengthen those areas that I needed for my running. And I ensured I stayed consistent. The most I had running the 12 weeks before the half marathon on the road was 4.5 kilometers. I did the half marathon training sessions as planned over the 12 weeks. However, they were done in the gym. My longest cardio session in the gym was 2 hours and 20 minutes. And that was tough, but I actually learned to enjoy that time in the gym. Did I run the whole way? Yes, but you don't have to. How long did it take for me to train for my half marathon? I had given myself nearly 6 months. However, with the injury, the 12 weeks of real intense training, I had to do differently. So 12 weeks is roughly how long you would give yourself to train for a half marathon. Did I take any supplements? Outside of my usual kind of pre-workout or my whey protein, no. I did use some Blocks Energy Chews for my longer runs, and these really helped. On the day of the run, I had 3 of these. Race day. I surprised myself. I went into race day not knowing what to expect. I hadn't done a long run on the road in a very long time. My longest run to date was 14 kilometers, and that was 2 years prior. 2 weeks beforehand, I'd done a 4.5 kilometre road run. But I felt ready and I felt calm. I had my good friend with me. We did some breath work and some yoga in the morning to set me up for the day, with my intention to have fun and to run fast. Although, really, I just wanted to be able to run the whole way. I was determined, and I did. It felt effortless, almost easy. I had a smile on my face. I had so much fun running along the way with the beautiful views of the bay. And we're racing. First kilometre of 21. I'm at the 7k mark, 1/3 of the way down. I've just hit 14k's. This is now the furthest I've ever run. Last time I did 14k's, City to Surf, 2023.
You've got this! See the finish! Yes, go! Woo!
Done. Woo. Less than 2:10. 2:09. That was fun. I crossed the finish line in the stadium. It was a stadium finish with so much pride, joy, and accomplishment because I had got there and I had stuck through the whole process until the end. I didn't quit. After the run, the toll it took on my body was bigger than I expected. I was quite sore day 1. By day 2, I was feeling pretty good. 3 and 4, I was pretty tired, hungry, and I could feel the stiffness really setting in. It took probably 5 days to start feeling like myself again. Even then, I took it slow. I had daily walks, gentle yoga, 2 saunas, I did 1 upper body session, and I got a massage. I ensured I prioritized lots of healthy, nutritious whole foods and plenty of rest because I've learnt that recovery is an equally important part of the process. My body did something amazing and I'm so proud of it, and it deserves the time to heal. So how long does recovery take after a half marathon? Well, I had to Google this. I didn't know. So 2 to 4 days initially of rest. And then it can take 2 to 4 weeks after a half marathon to get back into your normal training routine, depending on how hard you push your training experience and how your body feels. The biggest lessons that I've learnt. If you're thinking about maybe doing a half marathon or maybe something that you don't know if you can do it, you don't have to be a runner. This is what I've learnt. You don't have to be a runner. You're going to face doubt. You're not going to know if you're going to be able to do it. You may want to quit. If you get injured, that does not mean stop. It means adjust the plan. With the right training, the right mindset, and the right support, you can do all the hard things. And if you do it for a bigger reason than yourself, then you're going to push through. You should never say never. Don't let fear or doubt hold you back. Challenge yourself to do things, overcome obstacles and setbacks, build resilience and that self-belief. And that's going to carry you across the finish line and into other areas of your life. You absolutely can do anything you set your mind to. If you have a plan, you show up, you do the work, and the best that you can do, then you're going to succeed. This journey has taught me so much about myself, more than I ever could have imagined. I've actually really enjoyed it. Hurdles and all, setbacks and all, injuries and all. The good times, the hard times, the fun times, the sad times. You never know what version of yourself is waiting for you at the end of 21 kilometers. So let me know if you've ever thought about running a half marathon or a full marathon. And if this has inspired you to start moving again or maybe get into some running, drop a comment, share it with a friend, or direct message me because I'd love to hear your story.